Hello, dear students. Welcome to NEET Shala. We are going to start Chapter 7 of Biology, Class 11th NCERT, and this is your host Suyeshi Vineet on the show NEET Shala Radio. Chapter 7 Structural Organization in Animals. In the preceding chapters, you came across a large variety of organisms, both unicellular and multicellular, of the animal kingdom. In unicellular organisms, all functions like digestion, respiration, and reproduction are performed by single cell. In complex body of multicellular animals, the same basic functions are carried out by different groups of cells in a well-organized manner. The body of simple organisms like Hydra is made up of different type of cells, and the number of cells in each type can be in thousands. The human body is composed of billions of cells to perform various functions. How do these cells in the body work together? In multicellular animals, a group of similar cells along with intercellular substances perform a specific function. Such an organization is called tissue. You may be surprised to know that all complex animals consist of only 4 basic types of tissues. I repeat, you may be surprised to know that all complex animals consist of only 4 basic types of tissues. These tissues are organized in specific proportion and pattern to form an organ like stomach, lung, heart, and kidney. When 2 or more organs perform a common function by their physical and or chemical interaction, they together form organ system. Example: digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Cells, tissues, organs and organ systems split up the work in a way that exhibits division of labor and contribute to the survival of a body as a whole. 7.1 Animal tissues. The structure of cells vary according to their function. Therefore, the tissues are different and are broadly classified into 4 types: epithelial, connective, muscular, and neural tissue. 7.1.1 Please like the session of NEET Shala. Epithelial tissue. We commonly refer to an epithelial tissue as epithelium, plural epithelia. This tissue has a free surface which either faces a body fluid or the outside environment and thus provides a covering or lining for some part of the body. I repeat, epithelial tissue has a free surface which faces either a body fluid or the outside environment and thus provides a covering or lining for some part of the body. The cells are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. There are 2 types of epithelial tissue, namely simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is composed of single layer of cells and functions as a lining for body cavities, ducts and tubes. The compound epithelium consists of 2 or more cell layers and has protective function as it does in our skin. On the basis of structural modification of cells, simple epithelium is further divided into 3 types. These are simple squamous, simple cuboidal, and simple columnar epithelium. This is the diagram. The squamous epithelium is made of a single thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries. They are found in the walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs and are involved in functions like forming a diffusion boundary. The cuboidal epithelium is composed of a single layer of cube-like cells. This is commonly found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of nephron in kidney, and its main function are secretion and absorption. I will repeat this paragraph once again. Please hear it very carefully. This is important. The squamous epithelium is made of single thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries. They are found in walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs and are involved in functions like forming a diffusion boundary. This was for squamous epithelium. Now, the cuboidal epithelium is composed of a single layer of cube-like cells. This is commonly found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of nephrons in kidney, and its main functions are secretion and absorption. The epithelium of proximal convoluted tubule (PCT) of nephron in the kidney has microvilli. The columnar epithelium is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. Their nuclei are located at the base. I repeat, the nuclei in case of columnar epithelium are located at the base. Free surfaces may have microvilli. They are found in the lining of stomach and intestine and help in secretion and absorption. If the columnar or cuboidal cells bear cilia on their free surface, then they are called as ciliated epithelium. Their function is to move particles or mucus in a specific direction over epithelium. They are mainly present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tubes. This is the diagram. Some of the columnar or cuboidal cells get specialized for secretion and are called glandular epithelium. They are mainly of two types: unicellular, consisting of isolated glandular cells, goblet cells of the alimentary canal, and multicellular, consisting of cluster of cells, salivary gland. On the basis of mode of pouring of their secretion, glands are divided again into two categories, namely exocrine and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzyme, and other cell products. These products are released through the ducts or tubes. In contrast, endocrine glands do not have ducts. Endocrine glands do not have ducts. Their products, called hormones, are secreted directly into the fluid bathing the gland. Compound epithelium. Compound epithelium is made of more than one layer, multi-layered, more than one layer of cells, and thus has a limited role in secretion and absorption. Their main function is to provide protection against chemical and mechanical stresses. They cover the dry surface of skin, the moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, inner lining of ducts of salivary glands, and of pancreatic ducts. Please like this session of Needshala. All cells in epithelium are held together with little intercellular material. In nearly all animal tissues, specialized junctions provide both structural and functional links between its individual cells. Three types of cell junctions are found in the epithelium and other tissues. These are called as tight junction, adhering junction, and gap junction. Tight junction helps to stop substances from leaking across a tissue. Adhering junction performs cementing to keep neighboring cells together. Gap junction facilitates the cells to communicate with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for rapid transfer of ions, small molecules, and sometimes big molecules. 7.1.2 Connective tissue. Connective tissues are most abundant and widely distributed in the body of complex animals. They are named connective tissue because of their special functions of linking and supporting other tissues/organs of the body. They range from soft connective tissues to specialized types, which include cartilage, bone, adipose, and blood. In all connective tissues except blood, the cells secrete fibers of structural protein called collagen or elastin. I repeat, in all connective tissues except blood, the cells secrete fibers of structural protein called collagen or elastin. The fibers provide strength, elasticity, and flexibility to the tissue. These cells also secrete modified polysaccharides which accumulates between cells and fibers and act as matrix, ground substance. Connective tissues are classified into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Loose connective tissue has cells and fibers loosely arranged in a semi-fluid ground substance. For example, areolar tissue present beneath the skin. Now, often it serves as a support framework for epithelium. It contains fibroblast, cells that produce and secrete fibers, macrophages, and mast cells. Adipose tissue is another type of loose connective tissue located mainly beneath the skin. The cells of this tissue are specialized to store fats. The excess of nutrients which are not used immediately are converted into fats and are stored in this tissue. Fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed in the dense connective tissue. Orientation of fibers show a regular or irregular pattern and are called dense regular and dense irregular tissues. I repeat, fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed in dense connective tissue. Orientation of fibers show a regular or irregular pattern and are called dense regular and dense irregular tissues. In the dense regular connective tissue, the collagen fibers are present in two rows between many parallel bundles of fibers. Tendons, which attach skeletal muscles to bones, and ligaments, which attach one bone to another, are example of this tissue. I'll repeat this once again. Tendons, which attach skeletal muscles to bones, and ligaments, which attach one bone to another, are example of this tissue. Dense irregular connective tissue has fibroblast and many fibers, mostly collagen, that are oriented differently. This tissue is present in the skin. Cartilage, bones, and blood are various types of specialized connective tissue. The intercellular material of cartilage is solid and pliable and resist compression. Cells of this tissue, chondrocytes, are enclosed in small cavities within the matrix secreted by them. Most of the cartilages in vertebrate embryos are replaced by bones in adult. I repeat, most of the cartilages in vertebrate embryos are replaced by bones in adult. Cartilage is present in the tip of nose, outer ear, joints, between the adjacent bones of the vertebral column, limbs, and in the hands in adults. Bones have a hard and non-pliable ground substance rich in calcium salts and collagen fibers which give bone its strength. It is the main tissue that provides structural frame to the body. Bones support and protect softer tissues and organs. The bone cells, osteocytes, present in the spaces are called lacunae. Limb bones, such as the long bones of the legs, serve weight-bearing functions. They also interact with skeletal muscles attached to them to bring movement. The bone marrow in some bone is the site of production of blood cells. I repeat, the bone marrow in some bones is the site of production of blood cells. Now, blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells. white blood cells and platelets. It is the main circulating fluid that helps in the transport of various substances. You will learn more about blood in chapters 17 and 18. Please like this session of Neet Shala. Please like this session, and this is your host Suyeshi Vineet. 7.1.3 Muscle tissues. Each muscle is made of many long cylindrical fibers arranged in parallel arrays. These fibers are composed of numerous fine fibrils called myofibrils. Muscle fibers contract in response to stimulation. They relax and return to their uncontracted state in a coordinated fashion. Their action moves the body to adjust to the changes in the environment and to maintain the position of the various parts of body. In general, muscles play an active role in all movements of the body. Muscles are of three types: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to skeletal bones. I repeat, skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to skeletal bones. In a typical muscle, there are such as biceps, stripped skeletal muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. I will repeat this paragraph once again. I did some errors. I'm really sorry. Skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to skeletal bones. In a typical muscle such as biceps, stripped skeletal muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. A sheath of tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of muscle fibers. You will learn more about this in chapter 20. These are the diagrams you can see here. Skeletal muscle, smooth muscle tissue, and cardiac muscle tissues. You can see striations, nucleus, junction between the adjacent cell. The smooth muscle fibers taper at both ends, fusiform, and do not show variation. Cell junctions hold them together and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. The wall of internal organs such as the blood vessel, stomach, and intestine contains this type of muscle tissue. Smooth muscles are involuntary as their functions cannot be directly controlled. We usually are not able to make it contract merely by thinking about it as we do with our skeletal muscles. Cardiac muscle is a contractile tissue present only in heart. Cell junctions fuse in the plasma membrane of cardiac muscle cells and make them stick together. Communication junctions, intercalated disc at some fusion points, allow the cells to contract as a unit. That is, when one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighboring cells are also stimulated to contract. 7.1.4, and this is our neural tissue. Neural tissue exerts the greatest control over the body's responsiveness to changing conditions. Neurons, the unit of neural system, are excitable cells. The neuroglial cells, which constitute the rest of neural system, protect and support the neurons. Neuroglia make up more than 1/2 of the volume of neural tissues in our body. Please remember this. Neuroglia make up more than 1/2 of the volume of neural tissues in our body. When a neuron is suitably stimulated, an electrical disturbance is generated which swiftly travels along its plasma membrane. Arrival of the disturbance at neuron's endings or output zone triggers events that may cause stimulation or inhibition of adjacent neurons and other cells. You will study the details in chapter 21. 7.2 Organ and organ system. The basic tissues mentioned above organize to form organs, which in turn associate to form organ system in multicellular organisms. Such an organization is essential for more efficient and better coordinated activities of millions of cells constituting an organism. Each organ in our body is made up of one or more type of tissues. For example, our heart consists of all the four types of tissues, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. We also notice after some careful study that the complexity in organ and organ system displays certain discernible trend. This discernible trend is called evolutionary trend. You will study the detail in class 12th. You are being introduced to morphology and anatomy of three organisms at three evolutionary levels to show their organization and functioning. Morphology refers to study of form or externally visible features. I repeat, morphology refers to the study of form or externally visible features. In case of plants or microbes, the term morphology precisely means only this. In case of animals, this refers to external appearance of the organs or parts of the body. The word anatomy conventionally is used for the study of morphology of internal organs in animals. So in this part, we end this session here, and the morphology of earthworm, cockroach and frog we will be doing in the next video. Please like, share, subscribe and share your love to NEET Shala, and this is your host Suyeshi. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.